So, it turns out intrigue games are hard, encounters are hard, fights are hard, and we'd rather play Mythic instead. No, I'm not gonna. I thought about saying something like that
That
when we
that is
started.
that is all untrue. Well, not untrue, but
It's
not
all
completely true.
great and mighty exaggerations of the truth. But our biweekly group is moving over from the our homebrew intrigue setting to the Wrath of the Righteous adventure path, and this is our session 0. We'll kick off in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today is the 5th, so session 1 will air on Twitch on January 19th from 2 to 5 p.m. And then at some point, these are definitely going to make YouTube because now we're doing official Paizo stuff. And that seems to be something we should definitely put on the air to me. So before we get underway with our session 0, as always, Adam, Tim, Jason, thank you guys so much for your support on Patreon. Especially you, Tim, right now, like with not having gainful employment because you work for the government and the government is not working right now. Error 404, get a new government. You guys are the
Yeah,
best. So session
totally
zeros
fake.
are basically, I guess we're partial here because Adam is still putting his character together. Partially because, well,
Well,
really, I have zero experience with Mythic play. I have none at all, and Wrath of the Righteous is a Mythic campaign. We're going to have a lot of very spooky powers that we'll use to kill demons and stuff. So I want to make sure we all know what we're doing. I want to make sure like everybody knows maybe not necessarily their role in the party because I think that notion is kind of ridiculous. But like Pathfinder APs can be kind of deadly, and I don't want like a spot in a 3-man party to not be filled. So I guess before I turn it over to you guys, one thing I am gonna say is I've been rolling this idea around a lot in my head as to how to set up an adventure path, which is supposed to be 4 players on a 15-point buy, in such a way that like monks, shifters, paladins, things of that nature are playable, while not like, oh, you're a witch, you're a tier 0 caster, and you make all the encounters too easy. Sure, you can have an 18 con in this 25-point buy. Congratulations. So we are playing on a tiered point buy system. The long and short of it is full casters have 15, half casters have 20, as well as the monks and the paladins and stuff, because Wrath has a lot of crafting time, and everybody else has 25. The point of that being to not necessarily, and I think a lot of people's gut reaction to this is, oh, you're nerfing casters. That's not the goal. The goal is to raise everyone up while not raising the casters like to here. We're trying to do this. Now, that said, if people start dropping like flies because the point buy is wonky, we will certainly readdress. And if we get more or less players in Wrath of the Righteous, and we are in fact recruiting at our bi-weeklies here, then the point buy system will get readdressed as well. But for now, that's what we're rolling with. So I'm just gonna play. I was gonna play the clockwise game, but that starts with Adam. Adam's not ready. So all right.
No, I know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm doing it.
Fair
It's
enough.
different.
I guess another thing I should say is it's though one of them is a little less off the wall, in my opinion, than the other two, all three of our players today will be playing from the Advanced Race Guide Custom Races. So that's going to be something I've dealt with it, but I've never dealt with it on a party wide scale. So it's going to be definitely a lot of fun to play with, especially the one that's literally just very familiar but bigger. But I'll tell you about that in a minute. We will start counterclockwise then, and that means Tim is first. Tim, what are you playing? What are you doing? How you doing it? All that fun stuff.
All right. So I am playing a Oracle. She is dual cursed, which makes her kind of old. Um, well, that doesn't make her old. One of the curses makes her old. Um, which is a curse called Aged, uh, which is fun. Um,
That's the
let's
one that
see.
lets you you start off as super old, but then you buy off the age penalties as you level. Isn't that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So I start off as super old, and normally that would come with a -6 to my strength, dex, and con, and it is instead for me it is a -3 right now, but that will go down to a -1 um, which is really good for being old.
For not
And then
having a
eventually,
-6, yeah.
yeah, and then eventually I just won't die. So should I last that long, that'll be cool. And then my other curse is one called Powerless. This one is fixed, so I'll never progress in that curse. But it makes it so that I can never act in a surprise round. However, I gain uncanny dodge, which good.
Uncanny Dodge is definitely one of the most powerful abilities. It's like a sleeper ability that you never think about, and then you're a dex-based martial, so your flat-footed is like your touch AC, and now they'll never touch it. Pun not intended. You understand.
Mm-hmm. And then let me pull up my my race a little bit, because I should probably go over that.
That is
right?
definitely something I would like to talk about with everybody here, because I've heard bits and pieces from everyone, but I definitely I've said it before in several places. I will say it one more time. This is not Wrath of the Righteous. This is our Wrath of the Righteous. And that becomes doubly so because no one's playing a common race. Everyone's playing something really off the wall. And that means I, as the GM, get to bring in more of what Tim is playing, what Jason is playing. And what Adam's playing is going to bring in a lot of stuff that I don't think we're used to seeing in Wrath of the Righteous, but it'll be fun. I've had a lot of ideas for Adams.
Yeah. So I'm playing a race called the Galeus, and they are descendants of like wind elementals and wind mephits. And they have. Do you want me to just go over all of the abilities?
Yeah, actually, that doesn't sound bad. Just let everybody know exactly what the RP cap was 20 for everyone's build, but just like what you took in Y and stuff.
Yeah. So they are a small race. They're not, tiny, but they're just a small race. And then they have the advanced modifiers. So I've got +2 strength and dex and con, which helps with the whole,
Being an old person.
Mhm.
That's fair, yeah.
And then -2 intelligence and +4 charisma. And then I've got this is a fast race. With them being wind elementals, descended from wind elementals. I didn't want to give them flying because that costs a whole lot of RP. But I thought
those cost like 7.
Yeah, but I thought making them a little faster than normal would make sense. So that gives them a +10 to their base speed. So they have a base speed of 40. And then they have defensive training greater, which gives them a +2 dodge bonus to AC, which is in when they're trying to words.
Words are hard.
How that looks when they're doing that, it is like they move, kind of like the wind. So dodge bonus is what I was thinking there. They have energy resistance and improved energy resistance, which gives them a 10 energy resistance specifically to lightning or electricity. Sorry. And then they have a vulnerability to acid. So that's fun.
That actually might come up in Wrath of the Righteous as well. I haven't really looked at the encounters that much, but I mean, you're obviously fighting a bunch of demons. Someone will have some kind of acid damage at some point,
I assume there will be acid damage at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I chose, fire. That would just had been stupid.
That would be playing on hard mode, is I think the word I would use.
Wait, what?
And then
I'd be playing on easy mode.
What, to take fire vulnerability?
Oh, fire vulnerability? Never mind. I heard that wrong.
That's the opposite.
Yeah, no. I was saying we were talking about the vulnerability specifically. Yeah. Yeah, then I have a Mist Child, which whenever a member of this race has concealment or total concealment, the mischance of the attack against her is increased by 5%. So it's 30% or 55%.
Which is not bad. 5% can save your life.
And finally, a spell-like ability, at will, Windy Step.
One of Tim's very favorite spells, if you watch Tale of the Gorilla King, that saved his life from the Wrath of Cashew.
I absolutely adore Windy Step. It is such a good ability.
As an immediate action, cast a spell and negate a crit seems very good.
And it's an immediate action, so it's not OP. You can do it once per turn.
Mm-hmm. And you lose your next turn swift to do so. But
Yeah.
again, it can in the clutch that saves you, especially because I don't know how much I know Adam has played like half of Wrath already. But I don't know how much you guys know about it, but there's definitely going to be Baylors at some point, and when you got Vorpal stuff, it might not be the worst idea to, as an immediate action, not lose your head. So that's good. Mm-hmm. I was expecting a lot of good things from the man who is like one of BDG's patron like lit RPG masters. I've been in the man's car. I've seen his playlists. It is definitely a race I'm looking forward to like jamming into the world. It doesn't sound like it'd be really hard to do either. Essentially, it's just a small sylph.
Yeah, pretty much.
Was there anything else about
it? Not about the race. Well, actually, I can go over the. Let me read the text that I have here. Okay. The Galeus race are descendants of wind elementals and wind methods. Females of the race, hold on, have been known to entice men to their death, and males are great fighters. They are fast creatures said to be able to run on the wind itself. That's not completely true, but you know.
Stories get spread back and forth in the very low to very high magic setting that is Pathfinder. If you're in like Sandpoint, it's running on the wind is just fast, whereas everybody else in the bigger cities can just it has a faster move speed. That's not magic.
And Galeus prefer to live on or near mountains and in areas that get a lot of storms. Many races find them to be alluring. Their skin is usually a light shade of blue, scale that darkens as they age.
Okay, fair enough. So what about the actual, like, your character? Because certainly I didn't necessarily want gigantic backstories for everyone on this one, but everyone would need to have some reason to have joined the Fifth Crusade and have some reason to be in basically, I mean, obviously not literal hell, because we're fighting CE, not LE. But like, you would need to have some reason to be a member of the Crusade and be like directly in harm's way a lot.
Well, I'll go over her description then at the moment,
okay.
And that is Tempe has lived her entire life for her clan, but now she is close to death. She has decided to go see what the rest of the world has to offer. Tempe was a priestess for her people for 150 years, and I feel like there was more. I must have deleted it. But yeah, she was a priestess for 150 years in her clan, and she's getting kind of close to death, and so she decided to go out and see the world. Is basically what's going on.
Okay.
And then you've got. And then I can go over the rest of my class choices.
Yeah, by all means, we'll just run like up the line. Also, I see the token in Discord, Adam, and it is certainly both adorable and perfect for what you're trying to play.
Oh yeah. Is there any way that you can show them what my character looks like?
Yes, I will. I won't show in. I won't put it in OBS right now. But between here and next week, I'm gonna make a better overlay for stuff. And if you guys wouldn't mind, when you're trying to find your character arts, if you could find me like a really good waist up, and Adam, yours is fine. Of like where I can do what I did like with a simple job. If you guys have seen that, where like the whole character is on the thumbnail, that would be super sweet. Anyway, tell us about that dual cursed oracle.
All right, so I've told you about the curses. So now I'm going to tell you about the revelations that I've taken, and that is the first revelation I took is called Air Barrier. And let me pull that up real quick. Yeah.
I forget what air barrier does as well, because most of the time when I see oracles, like I built that life oracle for min-maxing for fun and profit, but I've seen I think it was Ancestors is what she was playing. Yeah, an Ancestors oracle that I wasn't like super impressed with. And obviously, like the metal oracles are really good because that's the one that's using Cha in place of everything, and it becomes like that's the Oridon.
The Oridon's a life oracle.
Oh, is it really? I could have swore it was a metal oracle for all the charisma synergy.
No, you go well. Okay, so when you say Oridon, I think of the battery.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally what it ends up being called because you use Lay on Hands and Fey Foundling to just heal a bunch, and then you get Life Oracle because they have Lifelink, so your party heals 5 damage every turn automatically.
And then you're taking the damage and you swift action Lay on Hands yourself it back, I imagine.
Yeah,
okay.
you just keep touching yourself and all your problems go away.
I mean, yeah, that's how it is. We had that come up in Doomsday Dawn last night. It was pretty good. But anywho, Air Revelations, I'm actually going to bring it up myself because I'm not super familiar. I'm just going to put air in the search and see how long it takes. That will not be good. That is not the best idea I've had in my life.
Yeah, do it. I'm actually pulling this up on my phone because I think it's going to end up being faster than my computer. It's pathetic.
Ugh, rough.
Did your processor poop its pants too?
I don't know. Yeah, my computer's being crazy right now.
I thought it was air. It's wind.
Wind. You're right. Wind.
You were playing Talon from the Soul Calibur series. She'd be an oracle. Yeah, that makes sense. Cursed to never age past like 14. And now someone has bought the new Soul Calibur. Oh my god, yeah, it's going real slow on my end too. This is unforgivable.
Oracle Mysteries. Wind.
See if ALN will go faster.
Oh, that's a freaking good idea. Hold on,
So while we wait, I have a question.
Sure, what's up?
Are subsequent style feats?
I don't understand what you mean.
Monkey Shine, which is the third feat in the monkey style feat chain,
Okay.
is not listed technically as a style feat.
But is it definitively the third one in the style chain?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah. It's probably just a clerical error somewhere. Oh, I guess that's another thing I could say is we are, as in most of my games lately, we are using Elephant in the Room for feat tax removal, and there's a little bit of homebrew on top of that for me, and one of those is the style feats will progress like an improved grade or anything. Anywho, so I have Air Barrier here now, which is
Yeah, so do I. You can create an invisible shell of air that grants you a +4 armor bonus. Then at 7th level, and every 4 levels thereafter, the bonus increases by +2, going all the way up to 13 at like 19 or something. So that AC is going to be fun.
So you won't be wearing any armor. Your armor is just the wind.
Yes.
That is super flavorful. I really like that.
It's mage armor.
Yeah, basically.
It's mage armor, but like
Plus.
a super upgraded version of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's mage armor plus you also get
Yeah, then I also get
mischance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, a mischance specifically for incoming arrows, rays, and other ranged attacks require an attack roll.
So all those cannonballs that are coming at you, misses.
Technically, yes.
Nice, fair enough.
And giant rocks.
And giant rocks. So when the cave giants come to town.
And then there's one other thing, other revelation that I need to attempt to pull up.
Okay, what was it called?
It is called Boon of the Defender.
Boon of the Defender. Where does that one come from? Does that come from your other mystery?
That I got that by taking the feat Strange Revelation. And then I gained that as my first level feat. I gained Extra Revelation,
I
which
see
gave
it.
me Boon of Defender.
Which comes from the God Claw mystery.
Yes.
Okay. I have no idea anything. Something, something, Hell's Vengeance, something, something. That's all I know about God Claw. Oh, now this is not a good time for the SRD to be going real slow. Oh, regardless, the rest of the air stuff looks really good too. You can get a little baby breath weapon. You can turn invisible. You have gaseous form. Which
Yeah,
is definitely a thing.
that's my main track that I'm on is the air. But at also at first level, I wanted this other AC thing because it's awesome.
Okay. So your role in combat, like as an oracle, do you think you'll be like up in the front a lot, or do you think you'll be in the back casting?
I'll probably be up in the front, as I do have a. Why did I think I actually did something wrong because for some reason I had my hit dice as D10, but I think it's only D8, which actually makes
Oracles are D8.
As a standard action, you can form a shield around you that blocks incoming attacks for a number of minutes. Today, you will have your oracle level.
Yeah, let me change that.
+4 deflection bonus to your AC.
So
that is
7th, and again at 11th and 15th, this bonus increases by 1. At 19th level, the shield also grants you DR2 Chaos. That'll be easy to break. The shield duration does not need to be consecutive, but must be spent in 1-minute increments.
Yep.
That is still a really nice. It means you never have to buy a ring of protection, basically.
Yeah, because that's what it goes up to, like +7 deflection,
I believe,
which is higher than your highest possible deflection bonus. I think
higher than the ring. Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, goes up to 7.
Okay, so the idea is just to be a very, very resilient frontline melee oracle.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
I'm starting out with a sword cane.
Oh God.
I have a question.
That's fine.
Can you do that again?
Huh?
Can you do that again?
Do what again?
Get another Revelations mystery? Or another mystery's revelation?
The problem with that is that it requires basically 2 feats. Because I have to get Strange Revelation, and then I have to... Well, it requires an extra feat, it's basically. It requires Strange Revelation, and then for me to do... spend a feat on it. Because Strange Revelation says the next revelation that you take
can be from somewhere else.
Can be from somewhere else, and then you have to take another one. So it takes up 2 feats.
To be really, really taxy.
That so it's super taxy. But Buddha.
What's your Dex versus Charisma?
I imagine his Charisma would be much higher, given that being venerable and stuff.
Yeah, I've got my Charisma is 22, and my Dex is 14. Do you know how to attack with Charisma?
I do, actually.
Yes. Well, there's an Oracle Metal one that allows you to attack with Charisma, but you seem to like your AC.
Yeah.
So there's a Lunar Revelation that replaces Dex with Charisma.
That is very true. Oracle Revelations can basically make you just very mono-statted. And then you could also... you could be chaotic good. You'd have to be chaotic good and worship Desna, and you can charisma to attack and damage with Star Knives. But on a small character, that's a D3. So
I might do that like at level 3. I think I'd be able to get that.
Okay, seems good. Is there anything else you wanted to tell us about? What was her name again?
Her name is Tempe.
Tempe, got it. I'll remember that now. Is there anything else we should know about her?
She is lawful good. She is her height is 3'3", 67 pounds, blue eyes, yellow hair. She worships words. She worships Yomancha.
Okay.
The deity. And then I'll go over her ability scores, which are 6, giving me a mod of -2 for strength, 14 for dex, 12 for constitution, 12 for intelligence, 14 for wisdom, and 22 for charisma.
All the charisma. Oracle charisma synergy is real. Fair enough. Okay. So if
there's remember at level 5 that strength, dex, and con all go up by 2.
Right. Feels good.
which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Then I've got Fortitude save of 1, Reflex 2, Will 4,
Seems about right.
+3 to my ranged, and I think that's about it. You got an AC of 15, health of 10.
AC of 15, that will go up to 19 and
Yeah,
then
it
more.
goes up to 19 and then to 23 if I've got both things active.
Seems pretty strong. Okay, fair enough. If that's everything, we will swing it over to the man who's going to carry the party. After talking to him last Saturday night, we talked about his character, and I realized, well, Tim's playing this, and Adam's playing that, and then in comes Jason's character, who's kind of the opposite. Jason, tell us all about it. It's gonna be
just
weird.
slightly the opposite. Well, let's start with his race. I'm calling them Forgekin. Basically, the story is in close to the crown of the world and the land of the Mammoth Lords. Well, there was this dwarven village, and a young human woman shows up. She's being chased by some people who appear to be very unhappy with her, but she, asks politely if she can come in. So, of course, dwarves being good family people, and hospitality is a thing in cold climates. So they bring her in, and, well, the upshot is whenever they find out she's a witch and is actively being evil among them, they cast her out. Well, she gets on the hook with, what's the name? Guyarna?
Girana, I believe, the mother of hags.
Girana. The mother of hags, who's one of her big things is spite. So what's about the worst thing you could do with a dwarf? Oh, let's see. Hey, boss, can we make them all giants?
I like the hey boss notion.
So basically, the Forgekin are humanoids with the dwarf and giant sub races. So think of your standard dwarf, except he's about 9.5, 10 foot tall. So, yeah, he's large, standard base speed. Large mods mean he's +2 strength, -2 to the dex. Again, doing the advanced template for the attributes, so +2 to all the physicals, +4 to intelligence, and -2 to charisma. It's the beard, just makes it hard to tell what he's thinking.
So when you said carry us, you meant literally.
He's playing a large character, and there is a small, and I guess I'll spoil it, a tiny character in the party. So you just get on his shoulder.
Actually, I was thinking a couple extra straps on the backpack.
Also good. Get like a wristband where you can strap the tiny oracle to and just punch, and then the oracle swings. Flawless.
Oh man, I may have to consider a flail then.
Or change to an improvised weapon character and just start throwing the party. Be that mean.
Okay. He also has, the race has the Desert Runner feat, which is resistance to hot and cold and don't take damage from basically exertion. So can march for days.
Which will probably be very relevant given the fact that the world wound is a cold desert. So
yeah. Weapons familiarity as a dwarf, so keeping those same. 60 feet worth of dark vision. The craftsman trait, which is +2 to craft or perfection or profession, checks with stone or metal, and Stone Seer, which is +1 to any spell with a earth descriptor, and it gives certain spell-like abilities, like I'd have to look it up real quick,
I
but
imagine
it's in the
something like
advanced
Stone
raid
Shape
guide. Yes.
Okay.
And that's the racial side of it. So in his case, with the 20-point buy, that ends up giving him an 18 strength, 12 dex, 16 constitution, 18 for his intelligence, 13 for his wisdom, and 8 for his charisma. So, Oracle, you do the talking. I will just look grumpy in the background.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm also realizing Jason and I in
while
point buys
being
build.
the background.
I'm realizing that Jason and I build very similar in limited point buys because there's only one dump stat there, and I really hate dumping anything. Because then what am I gonna do? But charisma sometimes has got to go. And your class was what?
I'm playing a magus.
A big angry dwarf magus. Seems good. The magus is definitely it's a class that can do a lot of really crazy things, and there's some kind of like rule jumps that are kind of hard to understand, but it's like damage will be dealt.
And especially with 2 of the spells I'm going to pick up at first level. One being Enlarge Person. So I won't be large.
You'll be
I'll
huge.
Be huge.
All right, fair enough. Seems
and
good.
The other is Stone Thrower, which basically will give me the stone throwing and stone catching trait equivalent for giants.
Okay.
So I can play catch and toss back with the best of them.
Yes, you can.
For 1 minute a turn per casting.
Seems good.
For my character, the traits I'm going with, 2 of them, I took 3. So I have 1 drawback with that, and that'll fit to the background story as well. The first is a campaign one for Wrath of the Righteous. It's Runeborn, which ends up giving me a +2 on concentration checks. The other 2 are Tireless Logic and Bladed Magic. The Bladed Magic works very well for crafting, and the Tireless Logic lets you reroll 1 intelligence-based skill or ability check once per day. So, given the way I roll,
yeah, gotta get that little barrier in there.
That's my. This might save everything. And if Runeborn is allowed, I'll go with Foul Brand as well.
Okay, yeah, sounds fine to me. Yeah, certainly the campaign traits from Wrath of the Righteous will certainly be allowed in Wrath of the Righteous.
Yes. Yeah. And the character's name is Delvin. And basically his purpose in being there is Forge can kind of view being turned into giants, and have for the millennia or so they've been around. They view it as a great shame.
Sure.
Because let's face it, dwarves are supposed to be, well, short and squat, not nearly as tall.
And then you've got that whole hatred of the giant race going on there too.
Yes. So even though we're not really giants, we can play one on TV, and
Yes,
that makes it hard for dwarves. Would make it very hard for a dwarf to accept us. So what's the best way to get dwarves to accept you back? And also the reason that they're more arcane based than standard dwarves is because they've kind of shied away from the dwarven pantheon, so they're not as religious, say, because the gods of our ancestors may or may not like what we've turned into.
That's fair. And I imagine a lot of, maybe not necessarily dwarves in Wrath, but a lot of like humans and things will see you and probably mistake you for maybe not like a frost giant. But to be honest, I'm going to have to look at some pictures of giants and see what looks the most like a giant dwarf, because that's probably what you look like at first glance.
Yeah.
I also imagine Delvin, and Delvin is going to be the easiest name to remember. The dwarves are delving too greedily and too deep, and it's locked in my head. I will not forget that. But I imagine Delvin also will serve as the party's item crafter as well, huh?
Yes, and it's going to come pretty quick on that as well.
Okay.
But his goal is, since this crusade is going to be kicking off, is to help retake the Sky Citadel in the World Wound.
Okay. What was the name of the Sky Citadel again?
Oh, goodness.
Because I know eventually a town gets taken and it becomes like the party's town, but I don't remember the name of it. I remember the name of the town. I don't remember the name of the Sky Citadel.
Again, when you get a chance.
Check Discord, you said?
And I didn't.
Gotcha, on it.
Okay. I had it written down and it's run away from me.
Well, fair enough. We'll figure it out. And if it's not Dresden, Wrath seems open-ended enough that you could basically, especially when you guys, because you guys are going to become like the generals of the army, because eventually the party becomes mythic. I imagine you'll have a lot of license to do whatever, and that's where the notion of it's not Wrath, it's our Wrath comes into play. And if that Sky Citadel isn't in there, we can certainly go there.
Well, it even mentioned it in the player's guide that some dwarves are interested in reclaiming ancestral areas.
Fair enough. So, you really like dwarves, huh, Jason? Because I'm noticing I've had 3 characters with you, and 2 out of 3 have been dwarves.
That works. On
Discord?
Yes, on Discord.
Oh man, yeah, that's pretty good. Fair enough. All right, cool. Character art is had.
But but generally he's a crafter, and that's a big part of his life, as well as the magic, and it all ties together because he fights, he uses magic. Well, you need good weapons and good armor to fight, and that allows you to use your magic more effectively, so it's just a feedback loop.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense to me. Also, I don't know if you've picked out your primary weapon yet, but not too long ago, I think it was called Heroes from the Fringe is the name of the book. And Tim can talk about this one too, because Tim's favorite weapon got nerfed in it because it was a reach weapon that you could finesse real easy. But there's been like 5 or 6 or 7 new dwarf weapons come down. So it's not just like the long axe, the war axe, the some kind of hammer, the Urgrosh, etc., etc.
Yeah, I have to admit, I really wanted to go with a 1.5, or what's commonly called a bastard sword.
Mm-hmm.
But it's considered an exotic in 1st edition.
Yeah, it is.
I only knew it out of 2nd edition, where it's a standard martial.
Well, see, the thing about that is the bastard sword in Legacy Pathfinder it's considered an exotic, but it's like if you take the exotic weapon proficiency, you can wield it one-handed. If you don't, but just have martial weapon proficiency, you can wield it two-handed. Now, that would stop spell combat because you don't have the hand free to Skyrim out, as the Magus does. But it would not stop spell strike because there's been an FAQ that you can free action, let go of your weapon's somatic components, and then grab it again, and then shock and grasp in with said bastard sword.
Yeah. So it's this is just some of this is just going to be fine tuning, but I really have I haven't totally decided. Part of it is I'm even considering something like a scimitar or a rapier
That's fair.
for
Gotta
One-
get them crits.
One would often say the weapon
Yes.
with the 15 to 20 threat range post keen is much better, or like a falchion.
yeah.
A lot of people I've noticed recently are starting, like, there's been a pretty big trend on forums and things to go closer to the falcata, which has the threat range of a longsword but the crit range of a battle axe. So it ends up being 70 to 20 times 3. And that will also cause your electric dice from Shocking Grasp to also triple when you spell strike.
Would it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. They are counted as the same. Or no, it would not on the 17. And no, you're right. I'm wrong. I'm so wrong. I'm thinking a different math. I'm thinking of playtest rogues. The Shocking Grasp is still 20 times 2.
Yeah.
Because the way to get around that is spell storing.
Spell storing
think.
is definitely a very
Spell
clutch
storing, I
enchantment
think,
for
uses the
magus.
weapons critical.
I think that's right. And you put it on your armor
Because-
too. Get some armor
because-
space. Shocking Grasp.
Playing a monk cleric who uses a scythe with touch of gracelessness.
Ooh, nice. I like it.
I'm
Goodbye, dexterity.
fishing for crits.
Yeah, for sure.
Crit
Oh, I crit.
fishing is
And
always
don't
good.
move anymore.
It's the best kind of fishing. Anyways, is there anything else we need to know about Delvin?
No, other than he's pretty much going to be able. He's not worried about being able to eat because he is very good at making things. He already has craft armor and craft arms as skills, or
That's
craft
fair.
weapons as skills.
Mm.
And as his feat, he's taken scribe scroll. So
Do you have craft leather?
Asks the rogue sitting on your shoulder. Hey, wait a minute.
Considering that I forgot to tell you one of the more important things, which is why the Runeborn and the Foul Brand traits come in. He was an escaped sacrificial.
Okay.
So basically, about 3-4 years ago, he got taken from his homeland up in the lands of the Mammoth Lords because, hey, what do demons like more than, bloody sacrifices? And the stranger, the better. Well, what can get more exotic than an 11-foot tall dwarf?
For sure.
I mean, come on, you got to go pretty far to find something this unique.
Was there a particular demon lord you had in mind to be sacrificed to? Because if not, if yes, then we can certainly bring it in. But if not, Baphomet seems to be the first one to come to mind, as he's kind of like one of the overarching big bad demon lords of the AP.
That works. And I can throw craft leather on my sheet.
Jam a quick extra skill rank. Okay, fair enough. So if there's nothing else we need to know about Delvin, then it pivots over to the last one.
Nope.
Can we get his traits again?
Oh, Runeborn, Tireless Logic, Bladed Magic, Drawback, Foul Brand.
Okay.
It's not as optimized as had you taken like Magical Lineage, which I think is what Adam is thinking.
No, I'm actually thinking Spark of Creation.
What does Spark of Creation do?
Reduces magical item crafting cost by 5%.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Bladed Magic does really good too.
Actually, I have no idea what Bladed Magic does. I'm gonna look that up. Bladed Magic! Now that the SRD wants to not go 2 miles an hour. Famous last words. I'm sitting here on a loading screen. No! Alright, so while we're waiting on that to load, Adam, what are you playing?
Okay.
What is your race? What are you doing? What's your class?
Okay. I'm playing a Burrell, which is a fey creature that is tiny, who moves slow, has standard languages, racial language of Sylvan, who has advanced ability scores, so it's a +2 to all mental stats, a +4 to dexterity, and a -2 to strength. I have taken the flight racial trait 3 times. So I have a fly speed of 50 with an average maneuverability. I have a hatred of demons and humans. And I have a static bonus feat of combat reflexes. I have traits of the acrobat, chance encounter, threatening defender, and I am very prideful. My final stat block is 6, 24, 14, 16, 12, and 10. Or, for more importantly, -2 strength, +7 dex, +2 con, +3 intelligence, +1 wisdom, 0 charisma. We start off with a Wild Strider Mouser Swashbuckler. Favorite class bonus is probably almost always going to be for the Rogue.
Because Rogue is the primary class.
Later,
fair enough.
Important things to know about this character. 1, they are tiny. 2, combat expertise is a thing. 3, maybe fighting defensively is a thing. Haven't quite decided yet.
Okay.
4, underfoot assault quite possibly has some of the worst reading ever, along with Monkey Shine. But I don't know if I'll be going Monkey Shine. Underfoot assault. While the Mouser, the second paragraph, separate from the first of how to get into someone else's square, normally, I'm a tiny creature, I don't care. While the Mouser is within her foe's space, the foe takes a -4 penalty on all attack rolls and combat maneuver checks not made against the Mouser. And all of the Mouser's allies that are adjacent to both the foe and the Mouser are considered to be flanking.
That gets really awkward when you're a tiny creature. Well, no, it doesn't. They can still be adjacent. Never mind.
Yeah, I take up the full 5-foot square.
Yeah. You just have to occupy a square to attack. It'd be sweet for a bunch of tiny characters to go land on a giant's shoulder and just flanking, stab into neck.
Right. Lost my place.
Talking about why you don't like the Mouser's reading second paragraph.
Oh no, it's great. But because it is a secondary paragraph, it is the only qualification is while I'm within the foe's square.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to spend the panache to get into somebody's square after they missed me. I just have to get into their square.
As a tiny creature, yeah. You would just go land on them. Because you have to be in their square to attack in the first place.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I just get to go into their square. And I can move within their square and leave the square unhindered without provoking attacks of opportunity, but they cannot leave my square without being attacked, period. 5-footing is not a thing that's available to them.
Yeah, because you're just on their shoulder.
Right. Level 2 through 5 is going into Unchained Rogue to pick up the debilitating injuries. And I will probably still be going Vexing Dodger so that I can use my climb skill, which is already at a +11, to...
Because as a tiny creature, you can use your dex in place of your strength, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll use my climb skill to climb on top of them. So my sneak attack damage die is a bonus, parentheses, to my AC or a minus to their attack.
Both
so I get hit even less.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go and pick up debilitating injury at level 4. And I can pick the one that makes it harder to have them hit. So at level 5, they take a -6 to attack anyone else, and a -6 to attack me.
Which is why fighting defensively seems all the better. Okay.
because then my AC just goes even higher,
Mhm.
and I just sit here and laugh as you try and hit the little flying house cat buzzing around your head.
Yeah. It should be really fun. I'm really liking it. I like the art too, the little, like, the teeny tiny soldier dual wielding katanas. So I guess my next question is if you could tell me a little more about the race itself, the Burrell, and why you would be a part of the Fifth Crusade.
So what I had thought, based kind of off of what you had thrown out as an idea, because fighting more of me sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
Because at level 1, wearing nothing, I have 20 AC.
Best.
And I don't have fancy magical abilities.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Mr. Oracle.
That's old lady Oracle to you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Oracle player.
Yeah.
We were kind of like an offshoot of Tiny Fae that lived in the first world. And my parents were part of the battalion called the Ragers, I want to say is what I ended up naming them.
Okay.
The Battalion of Rage. And we all kind of fight in the same way of we just get up in your face and laugh at you as you try and swing at us, which then allows other people to come in and do the real damage because we be tiny.
But with that D3 rapier and all.
Yeah, that's a thing. Hey, sneak attacks. Sneak attack's a thing.
Sneak attack is also a thing. Directly into the eardrum.
But so when I was going out and essentially practicing by dancing in front of snakes and other predators, I found we'll call it a portal, because it ended up being very similar to, I believe, with my kind of advanced knowledge, and Tommy can tell me to shut up at any moment, the World Wound portal is not standard summoning magic, because when an extraplanar creature dies on the material plane, if they have gone through the World Wound portal, they do not teleport back with their soul and all that jazz.
I believe that is correct, yeah.
So I found a similar portal when I was nothing but a wee little Bobby.
A wee little Bobby.
And I've been on the material plane since essentially creation of the material plane.
Okay.
So I am super old.
Okay. So the only hang up I would have with that is we would need to determine, like, age immortality is real awkward in a world where the aged oracle is sitting here counting bonuses. And
Right.
I might be okay with like a static like immortality, but you just can't age past like an adult. You can't go into like middle age up and up.
Well, so what I was gonna say is, because I've never, when I left the first world, I was a child, and because I've been around since the existence of the material plane for everyone to come up, I've never gotten a family to take me in. I kind of just exist, so I'm essentially a child, and I don't care about the whole bonuses to age, because those are terrible for me.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Nuke that dex real quick.
Can I be a child? I like this idea a whole lot better.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Just like you can't age, or you age really, 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 really slowly.
And then I have something in my backstory about, like, I have made a few friends with like wizards who have tried to send me home, because home is a thing that is nice and I want to go back. But even when I find people, they say the magic just doesn't work.
Okay.
Like, it goes to affect me. And so what I have written is, living life on the material plane after being thrust through a portal from the first world. The portal has seemingly made teleportation and plane hopping nigh impossible.
Okay, some kind of like I don't know planar science, but that kind of equivalent, some kind of thing. So where you just can't go back.
Yeah.
Though definitely,
essentially,
if we have a Fae in squad, I can definitely imagine there will be some jaunts into the first world and or things from the first world coming out.
So like for like a mechanical standpoint, like the portal implanted a dimensional anchor rod into my spine.
Okay, sure. Ow. Also, but yeah, sure.
Mechanically.
fair.
You are your own dimensional anchor.
Yeah. As opposed
I
to
just
having
sit
a
here and go,
complex surgery.
I'm going home.
Well,
Son of a bitch.
that makes a bit of an awkwardness, given because, and also I guess I'll say it now. I was thinking about changing how Wrath of the Righteous begins, but that's not fair to our viewers and our other players who have not played through Book 2 and Change like Adam has. So I will just friendly ask Adam to not metagame, and also, eventually we will be for a little while leaving the material plane. So that will definitely probably be a moment of oh my gosh for the
For a little
Burrell.
while?
Yeah. Is it not for, I think, a whole book? You end up not
It's
here.
well that's why I said a little while.
That's a little while. It's about a sixth of the
Emphasis
adventure.
on little.
Fair. Okay, so we've got
Anything you emphasize is kind of little.
yeah. As the house cat jumps on top of the giant dwarf's forehead, goes into beard as cover stabs out.
Other things of note, I've got a 12 acrobatics, which kind of matters.
Yeah, for sure. Because I imagine there will be a lot of things that like the answer to get you off of them is for them to try to grab you, of course. But like if something should take off running or like fly a bajillion miles an hour, I imagine there's an acrobatics or some kind of check to not be like thrown off.
Yeah. 11 climb, 11 escape artist, 15 fly, 7 no local, 5 perception, 7 ride. Although I guess that doesn't really matter. 19 stealth. That's a thing.
Yeah, it is.
You're tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And actually, Adam, while I'm thinking about it, there is a style feat chain. I forget what it's called, but it's called. I don't remember. I'm looking at it now, not to interrupt you, but there is definitely a style feat chain that lets you, when you're attacking something that's XYZ amount of size categories bigger than you, your weapon does damage as if it were bigger. I just can't for the life of me remember the name of the style feat chain. I'm looking now.
Giant Killer Stance might be one.
Might be Giant Killer. I feel like it was some kind of. I don't remember. I was going to take it on a Gathlin for a while, and then I didn't go back to those one-shots. Probably would like to, but it exists, and it might be very good for somebody who's using a weapon that does a D3.
Yeah.
God, I cannot, for the life of me, I cannot remember what they're called, though. Doing a scroll. Not Johnny style, not Snake style, or Snapping Turtle. Is it Cudgeler style? No, that's not it. I don't know what it is, but it definitely exists. I'll look for it between here and there, and I'll link it to you guys, because it's probably very good for the character.
Well, I also thought shifters were on a 25.5, so it makes me a little bit more sad.
Yeah, I know. The idea behind that, they're usually on a 25-point buy, but Wrath of the Righteous has so much downtime for crafting that, like, everybody at this table, we're digital, but, and, like, who's watched the channel knows that the characters who dip Monk and, like, use multiple ability scores into their AC rather than the heavy armor guy will come out just miles and miles in front of that character in terms of AC. So that's why they get less points. It's so, like, the fighter seems like something you would want to play, or, like, the swashbuckler.
Yeah.
I'm just sad because I don't even think about that, which is the thing. But I usually end up going, oh, look, that's a thing, too.
Hooray!
It's style feats.
That's fair. Well, if there's
Okay,
nothing else we need to know about you, is that everything?
That's pretty much everything. I start off the game with 8 attacks of opportunity.
Seems good. Because you get combat reflexes as one of your static bonus feats.
Yeah.
That I saw. That's very good.
So if you end up seeing this and you like what you see, and you don't have the altered multi-classing abilities, this build kind of started with the Songbird of Doom.
Oh, the Songbird of Doom.
which if y'all haven't looked at that, that is definitely worth a Google search.
And it's PFS legal.
And it is 100% PFS legal. So what you end up doing for my version, which is more of I refer to it as a mirror character, because I don't do a whole bunch of damage, but I, one, give flanking to almost everyone, and make everyone else super hard to hit, so I reflect the spotlight, is standard 1 level of Swashbuckler Mouser, 4 levels of Rogue, and then a 2-level dip into Master of Many Styles. As the build there says, and I haven't seen anyone complain about it, they use, I want to say, Snake Style and Monkey Style. But you can end up just going 2 levels of Master of Many Styles and pick up Monkey Style and Monkey Shine, because Monkey Shine gives you a +4 to AC while you're in somebody else's square.
Mm-hmm.
So you end up just skyrocketing your defenses.
And they just can't hit you. I did find the style feat chain, by the way. It's called can't speak, Sky Seeker style. The first one's really bad. The second one in the chain, Sky Seeker Thrash. You have to have 13 con and step up. But it says while using Sky Seeker style, you gain a cumulative +1 bonus on melee damage rolls for every size category your opponent is larger than you. And you're tiny. And you know what we're fighting. So that seems really good for you. And then
that's a thing.
Then the bottom one, Sky Seeker Impact, you get a +4 on Sunders. If that's it, don't Sunder the loot. That's mean. But it also lets your weapon do damage as if it were one size category large. But since we're going to be fighting at some point huge and bigger things probably, and you're tiny, so that's what small, medium, large. That's a +4 on your damage, just for fun, just to have it.
That's a thing.
It just seemed like a thing, yeah. Okay, so if there's nothing else we need to know about the Burrell, I guess my final, to wrap up the session 0, I talked about this with Adam, but I want to run it by Tim and Jason too, because it's been a thing that's come up in a lot of my games, and oftentimes, frankly, it kind of seems like a point of contention, both in games and in, if I were to go post this on a forum, the forum would eat me and itself alive. It's almost like an alignment thread, how toxic it can be. What I want to do in my games, in my session 0s from here forward, is propose in terms of hero points and when they are received, and also how powerful a 1 in a 20 can be. What I want to do is either first option, everyone receives a hero point at the beginning of the session in exchange for an in-character reflection, like Marks of Destiny that Andrew Armstrong from DFC hands out to his players. But if natural ones on skill checks and knowledge checks and things of that nature will always be really bad, in the same way that natural 20s will always give you more, and that's just like a universal across the board kind of thing. The alternative is we switch to rules as written, where obviously fumbling a stealth check, that it doesn't matter if you rolled a natural 1, if you add 50 they won't see you. It doesn't matter if you critically hit the stealth check, if you take away 8 they're probably going to see you. But in return, no hero points are handed out, and Blood of Heroes and spells that would give you hero points become banned. Which would you guys rather do? I know how Adam feels. Adam, I believe I speak for Adam when I say that he would rather do skills raw and not have hero points in the first place.
So there's no scenario where we get hero points as written where we get them just at level.
Correct.
Okay. I think I would prefer the you roll 1 on a skill check and something bad happens, but we get a hero point.
Okay.
I think that's been working fairly well in our other campaign.
Okay. Seems good to me. I do prefer that one as well, because we all know it's not hard, especially for our tiny character. If the tiny character decides to pick up the Greater Shadow enchantment on their armor and goes, I'm not saying the build is going to do this, but you could, and then go into Shadow Dancer and they'd never find you again. because you couldn't fumble the stealth check, and it's a fair balance that you can sometimes buy off with a hero point, but also have the if you want a +8 before you roll the thing, or like things of that nature. Anyway, Jason, how do you feel?
Being the
one who rolls all of our ones.
Attracting more critical fumbles than anyone else, well, in the history of your channel.
Yeah, that might be a very accurate statement, actually. Sinvolka has rolled really bad in house, but I don't know. I'd have to stop and count.
Really, when I count, I only get up to 1.
One, we're good.
Okay. Part of me likes the taking away the absolute disaster for the cost of the not getting necessarily all the super benefit of a great roll. But I'm flexible, and the hero points, the way we've been doing them, have worked. So I'm really torn on this one.
So we've got a definitive yes, a maybe. Adam, was I right in assuming how you felt?
Yeah, but we're also playing Mythic, so Mythic skill focus is a thing. It's
What does
just
Mythic skill focus do? I don't know anything
you always
about
take
the
10.
Mythic stuff. Oh, fair.
Period.
Okay.
And I also sit here and go, what happens when I take always a chance?
Which is what?
You can
I know
no
we've
longer,
talked about that one, but I don't remember.
You can no longer crit fumble on melee attack rolls, and you go, does a X hit you, where X is 1 plus the number, and if it hits you, you just go, okay, I'm dealing at least this much damage, now let's see if I crit.
Yeah, fair. Mythic does kind of put things not into perspective, but it's a whole different chain on whether the hero point's even needed in the first place.
Because there's a whole bunch of Mythic abilities that just go, yeah, no, you can't roll a 1 anymore. A 1 is a 1, not a, oh my god, you rolled a 1. You're not caressing any orc backs.
Fair. Okay, so that does make another point as well, because you wouldn't necessarily be worried about rolling a 1 in a world where rules as written, fumbles on skill checks won't harm you. It would just stop fumbling attack rolls.
Yeah.
Or like misfires on if someone wanted to play a gunslinger, you would never misfire because you never rolled a 1.
You never critically failed.
Right. So, that kind of makes me lean towards just no hero points in general, given the fact that we will be on the Mythic system pretty quickly. Though, of course, I've never played in the Mythic system, and I'm kind of just I learn as I go. That's how I work. One wonders if the hero points are even needed, because you're going to get huge buff to things. You are the heroes, because Mythic powers.
You also get Surge.
Which is a D6 becomes a D8 becomes a D12 added to attack rolls, or added to D20 rolls, rather. That I know, because monsters have it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think in that case what we might do is we'll keep, because there is a definitive option we can take to stop the fumble from being a thing, we'll keep how we've run it, where natural 1s are bad, natural 20s are great, and we'll have hero points up until the party goes Mythic, and then it'll be, we'll see if we even need them after that. That seems fair, because you guys will have, I believe, the entirety of Book 1, or at least most of Book 1. You won't be Mythic characters.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right, Adam?
This is another thought that I had. What about, like, 1s are bad for, like, skill checks? Not, like, terrible. Like, you can still succeed, but it may not be as good, and the 20s are just not amazeballs.
Yeah, that might be a thing.
Like, it's a flavor bonus, or like I don't know if the critical fumble deck does skill checks.
I don't think it does.
I think it's all
rules
combat.
written, they're not. Yeah, they're just only for combat. Though, of course, we could certainly dig out like that table or a generator or something from Google as well.
I don't know. I'm more wary with this character because failing rolling a 1 is, 1, I'll probably be rolling a lot of dice, and 2, rolling a 1 could kill me.
Yeah. In what way do you think?
Fly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, even then, I wouldn't say like if you're 100 feet off the ground and then you roll a 1 on a fly check, you don't instantly drop 100 feet. That's a little mean. I think what I would do is just say you drop 20 feet instead of 10, because I'm not trying to do these in such a way as like they will kill you, so much as it's like the 4 degrees of success of the playtest, that kind of thing.
And with magical item creation, low rolls can give you a cursed item.
That's very true.
And that's...
Your belt of physical perfection actually gives you a -6 to your stats, not a +6, and you don't know it till the first combat. That is relevant. Oh, I guess also, if that's going to be a thing in this party, we will be using, as Tim showed me so long ago, the Pathfinder Unchained rules for crafting, which gets the entire party involved. The same time will still be the same time, but there will be extra checks that get made, and in return, the item can have flavorful good things or bad things depending on the result of like percentage dice. Like I definitely I think it's Onru in Three Dragons. Yeah, Onru in Three Dragons. Her dex belt speaks Aklo and literally is just like a creepy monster tongue because the dice said so.
Your belt wants the old ones to return.
Yeah. And what else happened? A bunch of stuff happened, and it's all really flavorful. It's all really good. There's actually my magus's katana in that game doesn't ping his magic, that's flavorful for the other party member being a drow noble, realizing that she can't feel this like really powerful legacy katana. So we definitely are going to use those, and I think the fumbles. The fumbles will be there or rather they'll be there, but we can buy them off so easily with mythic tier stuff, because I believe always a chance is a general. I believe, right?
No.
Adam? No?
No, that's champion.
That's champion. Okay, fair enough. Well, I imagine the other ones will have something
we
similar
might not
as well.
even have a character who's able to take always a chance.
You don't think you'd roll into champion?
No, trickster.
Oh,
Yeah,
fair.
obviously.
Well, I don't know. I know that I knew champion, archmage, and that's all I knew because I've never played mythic before.
Okay, so there's champion, archmage, marshal, guardian, and hierophant.
And
so
trickster.
Tim, and trickster. Tim's probably going to go hierophant. Jason is almost guaranteed to go into archmage because I showed him a few things.
Fair.
And I'm going trickster, and I already know what my path dabbling is going to be into.
Okay, so then there's no chance anyone can have always a chance, so we'll just keep the hero points the whole time then. Okay. Seems good to me. Anyway, I guess to like bring this to a close, is there any other questions, comments, concerns anybody might have about how rules work, how the feat taxes work, what they should expect in Wrath of the Righteous, things of that nature?
Death.
Is it, well, Adam, would you consider it to be a difficult adventure path? Being someone who's played it?
Difficult, I don't think, is a strong enough word.
Okay, so we should expect to be very challenged.
Yes and no. So the expression is that the game always goes to rocket tag.
Sure.
Rocket tag can happen before either team gets a chance.
Ooh, okay. Sweet. Seems good. What rocket tag means is like someone goes first. My favorite example of it is Sam. I kind of just made this in min-maxing for fun and profit as well. But I go first because I have a very high initiative. I cast a quick and hold person as a swift action, move as a move action up to, and then throat slice or use a standard action, and it's over. Or in more like classical terms, the ability to put down just a lot of damage really, 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 really fast. Which usually comes in around like level 10, 11, 12, I would say.
Agile mythic creatures are a thing.
Which means they go real, real fast.
Well, they get 2 initiatives.
Oh, ooh, nice.
So they get their standard initiative at like plus 10 on the base creature, and then they get a second one at like minus 20.
Which is still 2 in one round,
So
which is really
they
good.
go first, and Nye
last.
last. So they get 2 rounds back to back.
Right. Ooh, that
Per
is spooky.
round.
And you guys could get that too. I imagine that's something the Trickster has access to.
No.
No?
That is a template.
Oh. Well.
That is a you only thing.
I'll make sure to remember that.
I'm pretty sure.
There are ways that PCs can get templates. I don't know if there will be a way we can get a template in this.
We'll see. Templates are something that I would consider handing out, especially if we remain a 3-man party going through, and it becomes more difficult because of that. I would definitely be more willing to be like, okay, we need to, now you're half Celestials. That sort of thing. Okay, so if there's any other, the game is expected to be pretty hard, but also you guys are like quite smart, intelligent. Like we ran through an intrigue game where to get hit in combat was almost certain death, and you guys got around it pretty admirably. So I'm not as worried. Well, I guess Mythic brings in a different style of play, but you guys are intelligent enough you can get around it.
To be fair, I also played this game with a DM who thought dealing over 600 damage unavoidable was perfectly legal to allow to be set up.
I mean, it sounds fun to me. I would have to see in, like, if he's just doing something random out of nowhere just to like spite you. Yeah, you told me the whole story about your EDH days. So that seems entirely different. But my experience with the Pathfinder Adventure Paths is entirely limited to Rise of the Rune Lords, which is like, sometimes Rise of the Rune Lords is just like Snorefest easy. I may be biased because I had 3 full casters behind me. One was a witch, so like things were shut off very, very, very quickly, and then like the boss fights would be really, really hard. I don't know if Wrath necessarily tracks in that same way, but I imagine it certainly. But we have 1 full caster in the party, and the magus spell list is a very robust spell list, so you guys will have access to all the control magic you ever wanted.
Magus is considered a full caster?
No, they're not. I'm sorry, I may have worded that wrong.
No, I am. He said 1 full caster. I am a full
which is
caster.
the Oracle.
Oh, okay.
And then he said that the magus spell list is robust.
It's very good. Yeah,
It is.
It turns out you don't have to just shock and grasp at the top of your lungs all the time. In fact, again, I just made a video about that. Like, you have haste, you have all the wall spells, hold person, slow. You're there. You have all the same power everybody else does. So I imagine it's hold monster this game, not hold person as much. But that's a different story.
Is there a reduce monster spell?
That's a good question. I don't think so. No diminutive for you. Haha. I see. Reduce person. Yes, there is. It's a third party.
Yes, there
spell?
is. I think it's... Yeah, it's in the standard.
Yeah, I'm loading
Because
it.
you have enlarge person and reduce person.
Right, but he needs a reduce monster because he's a fae. And so a person spell
monster.
can't target him.
Doggone it.
Thing and a bad thing all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And whether or not we talk about it being legal, it is sorcerer wizard only. And since we lack both, it'd be something that could never target you. Short of like scrolls or something, I guess. But
There's expanded arcana.
Also, I have used magic device, so
fair. Like a reverse righteous might from the Oracle makes you shrink. I don't know. It's definitely something we could look into, though. And suddenly you're the size of like an actual miniature running up to somebody and stabbing them.
My AC is ridiculous at that point.
Is Ant-Man. Fair enough.
So, just for like a question, a 1 on a Hellcat stealth doesn't matter.
On a what?
Hellcat stealth?
I'm not sure what that is. Like Hellcat, like the creature?
Hellcat, like, there's a feat called Hellcat stealth
Okay, let me take a
that
look.
allows you to stealth, period.
Hellcat stealth. Actually not. You can make stealth checks in normal or bright light even when being... Oh, man. That's literally just hide in plain sight on a feat. Why do I play Shadow Dancers? Why do I do that to myself? It is a feat.
So you don't have to take the -10.
Oh, fair. Okay. You can make stealth checks in normal or bright light even when being observed. You could still fumble it by the rules, but it's like it would take away you have to be behind something to stealth in the first place, which may be less of a problem for the tiny creature than it would be for like Delvin, if Delvin were to take this.
I can hide behind mountains. Yes.
I'm a mountain, leave me be. Oh, that's just a mountain. We don't have to worry about it. Shocking grasp, you die.
Yeah, part of the reason I'm thinking rapier would be flavorful is, well, it is a lightning rod.
Yeah, that's fair. I never thought of that. Seems good to me.
It's funny. I like it.
It's been very rare since I've ever seen a strength-based rapier character. So not only is it flavorful, it is unique.
Well, there's part of me that just really wants to, break out the dwarven war axe and, clear large swaths of the world in front of me.
Seems good. There actually is also I don't know a lot about the weapon, but I know Tim used it for a while. I just typed dwarven in, and we're going to find a giant sticker. Might serve
the
to do
dwarven
both.
giant sticker. It used to be
A finesse reach weapon.
One-handed finesse, a one-handed light reach weapon. Now,
No. No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No. No, and you know why.
Yeah. I think we all did secretly.
I mean, I know how to do it with any weapon, but you don't have to jump through any hoops on that.
Yeah,
no.
Just be a dwarf. But if Delvin were to take a reach weapon, Delvin would have a reach of 20 feet. Because a reach weapon doubles your reach, and your reach is 10 feet large. To say nothing of when you go to huge. Good thought. That's a thing. Okay.
So you want to hear something really dumb?
Sure.
Rules as written, a huge whip has a reach of 15 feet.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
No. That's the entire range.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that is dumb. When actually it would have a reach of a total of 30, I believe. Because, yeah. Which is also very flavorful for the tiny creature. If you take something like a pike, so the tiny creature just runs up the pike and then stabs.
So the funny thing is there's actually, it's either 30 feet or 45 feet.
Depending
There's an
on...
argument. Well, does a whip triple your reach?
Should it?
Well, I mean, a standard whip is 15 foot. Melee medium characters have a reach of 5 feet.
Oh, yeah. In that case, it would definitely be 45 then. Yeah, that's fair. The Urumi is looking better and better. Also flavorful for the ex-slave. Take his master's whip, shocking grasp him around the neck, kill him dead, take the whip. And then that becomes
a one-handed weapon.
I would along the line of a chain or a spiked chain.
Classic.
That range is so good.
Range is quick. You could take like a awkwardly flavored meteor hammer, which is basically just like, say, like your ankle
ball and chain
thing. Yeah, exactly. And just like your the only thing holding you back is your chains, and how you beat people with them. What's the damage dice on one of those? I've never used them before.
Why are we married now?
Because I love you, Adam. That's why.
I'm just here to make jokes. You don't have to make them real.
Exactly. Oh, it's too late. It's already there. Real it is. Doing it live. So meteor hammer. I don't think a meteor hammer does a lot of damage. I never use them. It's like, why would you? But for the magus, it definitely is a thought.
I wonder if they've put out more episodes.
Of?
The Eighth Night of Eight.
No idea. Never heard.
Ocho Octavius, the Eighth Night of Eight.
Okay, Meteor Hammer is still loading in, but it definitely, if it has that big of a reach, it would certainly be very good. And I'm also kind of okay with custom weapons as well, as long as you don't come in with like a D12 15 to 20 times 2 before Keen or some blase. But that's all stuff we can answer later.
Yeah.
The other question is how much do you hate yourself?
If it's
Tommy.
worthwhile, I can help.
Why?
How much do you hate yourself?
Why?
Or can we go back to 3.5 and have them stack?
No, we cannot. We've left 3.5 for a reason.
Yeah, and there's some dumb changes between those two, but
That's fair. Well,
the
regardless,
Manticore crossbow got nuked, and I don't know why, because it wasn't that good.
it was just a playable crossbow.
Yeah, Meteor Hammer doesn't give much off of the D20 PFSRD.
Yeah, hang on, I'll bring it up to my phone. Media Hammer. There it goes. Every time I look it up on my phone, I don't know why, but that takes it up. I gotta go to the weapons. Go here. And it's a double weapon, so that's sweet. So I have it on my phone. It can give you a shield bonus. It can you can pull people with it. I want to say it's a what am I trying to say? It's a D8 for a medium creature, D8 times 2 with reach and trip. So for a huge creature, that becomes 2d8, and your reach would go from 10 to 20 to 30 with it, which is quite a bit of reach. And it definitely, again, seems really flavorful to have pulled your shackles off you and now be beating people to death with them as meteor hammers. In any case, though, I feel like we've talked about everything we need to talk about in terms of the Session 0 recording, so unless anybody else has any questions, comments, concerns about Wrath of the Righteous, this is where we'll call the recording for today. Going once, going twice. And alrighty, fair enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll be back in 2 weeks for the first episode of Wrath of the Righteous. And hey, if you might be interested in playing, we might do a giveaway. There's going to be a giveaway for the big patron group to get a couple of players in the next couple weeks for a brand new setting and a brand new system. We might do one here as well. We'll see what happens. But patronage at our tier 5.5 or up will get you in here. And our Patreon, as always, is in the description. So we'll be back at it in 2 weeks for Session 1. Say bye, guys.
Adios.
Bye, guys.